Happy Monday, Saints fans. Before we get into today's episode of Saints Now by Chat Sports, I want to start off by saying thank you. We crossed over 48,000 subscribers yesterday, and we are on the road to 50K. We just got that much closer, and every subscriber helps, so help us chip away and reach 50K. Today's episode is going to be really fun. I'm going to be giving you my reactions to the Saints versus Jaguars PFF grades. We're going to take a look at the top 5 players on offense and defense and how they graded out from their Pro Football Focus overall grades. And then we're going to flip the script and do the same thing for the defensive side of the football, the top 5 best and the top 5 worst. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. Thank you so much for tuning in to Saints Now by Chat Sports. Let's get this party started. I want to first hone in on Mason Tipton. He graded the highest, according to Pro Football Focus, on the offensive side of the football. Worth noting here, Tyler Shough also graded higher than Spencer Rattler. Nice to see Taliese Fuaga also grade out pretty well, and Treyton Welch had a very nice day too. Really a big catch early in the game. It was nice to see him have a successful performance against the Jacksonville Jaguars as a tight end in a room that's dealing with a lot of injuries. Gonna go ahead and say it. Tip is the preseason prince. He's the preseason MVP. This guy is going to make the roster. There is no question about it. He has been great. He has been reliable. He has been dynamic. When his number has been called, he's answering every single time. You can also see the full chemistry on display between Tyler Shough in preseason week 1. You got to see it in preseason week 2 with Spencer Rattler. He has been phenomenal. 6 catches, 100 yards, a long of 45 yards, over 16 yards per catch. Mason Tipton, I'm telling you right now, is a lock to make the 53-man roster. There's no doubt in my mind that this player is going to be impactful. And don't forget, the wide receiver 1, 2, and 3, that's set with Shaheed, Olave, and Brandon Cooks. That being said, Bub Means is on IR, and he's going to be out for the whole season. So that wide receiver 4 position is up for grabs, but maybe not for much longer, because I think Mason Tipton has pretty much locked himself in that spot. Kellen Moore has given him a lot of praise. He even got to break out the huddle at the end of the game in the Saints locker room after the tie. It's really cool to see Mason Tipton, as an undrafted free agent out of an Ivy League school in Yale, make a big splash in the National Football League in the preseason, not just in his rookie year. Year 2 as well. I'm hoping that he has a big season ahead of him. One of these two guys is going to need to lean on Mason Tipton, but I also want to discuss why I think the New Orleans Saints have a tough decision to make here. I mean, the numbers for Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shough are eerily similar. They really could not be closer, even if you wanted him to. Worth noting, Spencer Rattler has been sacked 3 times. Tyler Shough has been sacked 4 times. The slight edge with Spencer Rattler, I would say week 1 goes to Shough, week 2 goes to Rattler. So preseason week 3 is really where we're going to find out who is the guy for the Saints QB1. A name that didn't grade very high, that I was actually shocked wasn't on this list, was Kelvin Banks Jr., the 9th overall selection by the New Orleans Saints. Guys, this guy is good. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The New Orleans Saints made the best possible decision they could have at 9 overall. No sacks, no pressures, no hits, no hurries. The run blocking grade, sure, it's low. I'm really not going to get too concerned about that because it's the preseason. He only got 38 snaps this entire preseason. By the way, that's not just week 2. That's the entire preseason so far. So he is grading out at above an 88 in his pass blocking department. That is amazing. 0 sacks, 0 pressures, 0 QB hits, 0 hurries. That is excellent from a top 10 pick. That is what you want. It really can't get much better than that. The pass protection has been phenomenal for Kelvin Banks. Sure, the run blocking could be a little bit better, but he's a rookie. We haven't even seen him play in 50 snaps. I think that the New Orleans Saints have a massive steal and a great pick in Kelvin Banks. He's going to be the left tackle of the future, in my personal opinion. I thought that Kelvin Banks was especially impressive, but I got to give the game ball to Mason Tipton. What about you? Who was the most impressive player versus the Jacksonville Jaguars? We haven't even touched the defensive side of the football, but there's a lot of guys who really shined this past week. So I want to hear from you. It wasn't all doom and gloom. Get in the comment section who most impressed you versus the Jags. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. When I saw that last chance you legend, Rejzohn Wright, graded higher than anyone else on the New Orleans Saints roster against the Jags in preseason week 2, I was shocked. I was impressed. Like, shout out to Rejzohn Wright. I mean, this is a guy who's at the lower end of the cornerback room, and he is giving himself very, very strong reasons to make the roster. He's putting on and presenting a really good case for why the New Orleans Saints need him on game days. Jalen Ford, with that interception, also graded out really well. For what it's worth, also, that Jonas Sanker interception that he had, Rejzohn Wright was on the PBU. Like, that doesn't happen. That play doesn't happen without Rejzohn Wright, for what it's worth. And if Rejzohn Wright doesn't make that pass breakup, the Jags have the opportunity to potentially drive down the field and put points on the board with Cam Little. So, all in all, I think Rejzohn Wright was great. Jalen Ford was phenomenal. Caught an interception in a really clutch moment. Quincy Riley led the team in tackles. He was really, really impressive. Jonas Sanker, I thought, was also phenomenal. And Jeremiah Martin, a recent addition as an edge rusher, was the 5th highest graded player with a 71.0 overall. But Rejzohn Wright, ladies and gentlemen, half of a run stuff, 1 tackle, 2 PBUs, a very crucial PBU, I should add, at the very end of the game, so that way the Jags didn't have the opportunity to drive down the field and win. He was great. Quincy Riley, 9 tackles, 1 run stuff. He led the team in tackles. Saints got a dog in him. Jonas Sanker, 5 tackles, 1 interception, 1 pass breakup. He was flying all over the field. Don't forget that the PFF grades are not the gospel. It's just kind of a benchmark to see how these players are playing. For what it's worth, the tape is significantly better than what the PFF grades are. And I'll say for the defensive backroom specifically, I think the future is very, very bright. I have not shied away from this opinion. And if anything, it only gets stronger every time I watch this team take the field. I thought that the New Orleans Saints have done a really good job of adding to the defensive back group. I think that they've brought in some really interesting players that can do some very special things in Brandon Staley's defense. So I was very, very impressed with the defensive backs. I was very impressed with a lot of these guys. But we're going to have to tell you about who graded worst here in just a moment. First, this episode of Saints Now by Chat Sports is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to play daily fantasy sports. And preseason football is underway and college football is here. So don't miss out on any of the action this season on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a fun and simple way to test your ball knowledge and turn it into cold hard cash. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Check out this deal. Prize Picks is currently offering a max discount for Dak Prescott. Half a passing yard, even in the worst game I've ever watched of Dallas Cowboys football. Week 2 versus the Saints last year, he had more than half a passing yard. So if you want to add this into your lineup, I highly, highly encourage you to do so. It's pretty much free money. But also college football. It's about to get started. Week 0 is here, ladies and gentlemen. Avery Johnson. This one feels like free money as well. Go ahead and project the more. You can also take a look at the preseason football lineups and options that they have. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. So join the millions of users and sign up today. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. All of that information is in the comments and description of this video, so go check it out, click the link, and get started with Prize Picks. So now let's take a look at the players who could have graded better. Cam Akers, he's the first one we're going to hone in on. I just kind of want to go player by player here. Needs to be better. There's quite a bit of juice in the running back room, and I do believe the Saints will end up carrying 4 running backs at least. And Cam Akers is at risk of being not that 4th guy. I think when you talk about the running back room, you have obviously Alvin Kamara at 1. Kendra Miller's pretty much locked himself at 2. RB3 and 4 is where you start having a conversation. Devin Neal, he has a hamstring injury. We haven't seen him yet, but he's a very productive player at Kansas. You also have CEH, who's really, really good for the Saints yesterday. And I think that there's conversations to be had around who's running back 3, who's running back 4. Cam Akers, if he wants to be that guy, going to need to be better. Kevin Austin Jr. was reliable for the Saints last season when his name was called after the whole wide receiver room was decimated by injuries, but he did not grade very well yesterday. Wide receiver 4, in my opinion, is a lock for Mason Tipton. 5 and 6 are where we're going to need to see somebody step up. Is it going to be Kevin Austin Jr., DPJ, Ced Wilson? Who is going to be the guy? Somebody needs to step up and try to be one of those players. Kevin Austin Jr. needs to play better if he wants to make the roster. Maliki Mataval, 7th-round pick out of UCLA, obviously didn't grade out very well, and neither of these two linemen, Mike Panasiuk, sorry, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation. He's not even going to be on the roster anyway. He's not going to make it. He's going to get cut. He graded poorly. Barry Wesley also graded poorly. Neither of these two guys are going to make the roster, in my personal opinion. But let's go back to this conversation with the rushing attack because, Cam Akers, he's got to play better than this if he wants to end up making the roster. I think right now, Bayless Jones, Kendre Miller, CEH, I think those 3 guys are all going to end up making the roster, especially considering how versatile Bayless Jones is and the fact that he can offer some contributions in the special teams department as well. I think it's fair to say that this running back room brought juice to the Jacksonville Jaguars game. And I know that it wasn't amazing. I know that you're not like, oh my God, one of these guys had an 80-yard game, 2 touchdowns. Holy shit. No, that didn't happen, and that's okay. But let's get the starting offense out there. Let's completely open up the playbook, and let's see what this team is capable of doing. I'll say this, health is the big, big key to success here, but I do think that the running backs brought some juice to this game, and I'm really, really excited to see how they continue to utilize the running back position, not just as a ball carrier, but as pass catchers as well, because they got involved in that department as well. We talked about the 2 offensive linemen who graded very poorly. I think ultimately the Saints felt like they needed to make a move for an offensive lineman. I think that they felt as if they didn't trust that offensive line depth, which is why I believe the Saints traded Colin Saunders for Luke Fortner. It's a player-for-player swap. Colin Saunders, just quite frankly, didn't fit Brandon Staley's scheme, as well as guys like Vernon Broughton, as well as guys like Christian Boyd and some of those other defensive tackles. And that's going to be a room that's going to be probably one of the hardest to make cuts in. That and the linebacker room, in my opinion, are going to be the hardest to make cuts. You do trade for center Luke Fortner. Has not been very great throughout his career. You just got another body as a backup. Torricelli Simpkins, he was good in week 1. He was all right in week 2. This just kind of provides more insurance, if you will, for a player that probably wasn't going to end up on the roster anyway. I just will say this. Want to say best of luck to Bink in Jacksonville. Gonna miss him. Shout out to him for that absolutely electric pick against Patrick Mahomes last year on Monday Night Football. Has definitely had some fun moments. Gonna miss having him around. No ill will towards Colin Saunders. Want to wish him nothing but the best, and I hope that you guys are all with me. Like the video to wish Colin Saunders good luck in Jacksonville. Let's talk about the worst graded players on defense now, because the offensive side of the football was very, very stagnant in the first half. Defense also kind of got ran through and kind of got beat up in the first half, but credit to the defensive unit as a whole. The theme, in my opinion, was bend but don't break. And a lot of times we saw the Jags start driving downfield, making plays, getting in the red zone, and then the Saints force a turnover. Or Jags have an opportunity to win. Rejzohn Wright tips the ball, and then you're able to go and get a pick from Jonas Anker to seal the game as a tie. All in all, nothing against these players that graded poorly. I do think Isaac Yiadom is going to make the roster. I think he will actually be the starting corner across from Kool-Aid McKinstry just because of the experience that he provides. Christian Boyd, I also think he's going to end up making the roster. He's been pretty good this summer and been getting a lot of praise from his fellow teammates. Colin Saunders, it is ironic that he actually graded the worst on the defense and then got traded to the team that they played against. That's kind of interesting. But you see a couple linebackers grading poorly in this department. The linebacker room is going to be tough to make cuts in. And you can see all of these linebackers, how they graded out according to Pro Football Focus. Isaiah Stallbird has been really, really good this summer. Danny Stutzman, no question about it. He is going to be a phenomenal football player for a very long time in the black and gold. I swear to God, if Mickey Loomis lets go of Danny Stutzman, there will be hell to pay. Nephi Sewell, Tarian Powell, and DeMarco Jackson, what are you going to do behind? Like, which one of these guys are you going to cut? And who are you going to keep? Because obviously Pete Werner and Demario Davis are going to be the starting linebackers. So it's going to be tough to make decisions in the linebacker department. Maybe the Saints decide to start trading away some of those guys for late-round picks, kind of like to just recoup some draft capital and get some back. I mean, you don't have a 7th-round pick in 2026 because you sent that to the Patriots for Devon Gottschall, so maybe you try to get something in return in that regard. All in all, this is going to be a really tough room to make decisions with. And we've talked about Danny Stutzman. Like, I know that he graded with only a 55.8, and you might be sitting here being like, oh my God, what is that about? Reminder, I'll say it before, or I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Pro Football Focus grades are not the gospel. It is just kind of a benchmark and kind of a measuring stick of, are they playing good? Are they playing bad? Playing average? Like, don't take everything that you see on Pro Football Focus to heart. Danny Stutzman has been making plays everywhere. He had a beautiful pass breakup. He's been clutch. He's been making huge plays, been flying around the field. Like, this guy's got a bright future. Really, really excited about Danny Stutzman. I think that he's going to be a phenomenal football player. Will the Saints have more or less wins than 5.5? I want to hear from you. The line, the number we're setting it, 5.5. Get like Prize Picks, more or less. Get in the comment section, share your thoughts. I want to hear from you. Who Dat Nation, I really do appreciate y'all for tuning in to today's video. Thank you guys for supporting us throughout the summer. Preseason is almost over. Week 1 will be here before you know it, and we're going to be live all throughout the season. We're going to be here providing content every single day, so be sure to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time.